Pleased to have with me a very special guest, Liam Moleta.
Thank you so much, man, for having me.
Quite a lot of things in your career. What's been going on?
Just got back from California. I had my second headlining performance, but my first out there in the mainland. I got to perform in my hometown, Lancaster, California. A dream come true because never got to perform out there and to bring Hawaiian energy and Hawaiian vibes out there. So I just got back. I had a little vacation out there as well and, getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. And yeah, grateful that I got to go back.
You talk about sharing your music out there to the U.S. What can you say has been your enjoyment when it comes to music?
One of the things I try to stay away from is making a performance about me, but ultimately it does have to be about me to portray and share a message. Getting lost in the music is definitely one of my most favorite parts of music and how I enjoy it. If you watch me live, I tend to close my eyes quite a bit, and I'm working on making more eye contact and stuff like that, but me closing my eyes literally is me just tapping into my deeper roots, my deeper foundation into why I enjoy music and kind of how I started this passion in the first place. I always get taken back to that place and, to enjoy that time with myself, singing, vibing out and being able to share it. That is a dream come true in itself.
You talk about singing and sharing your message, your cover versions. I know everybody does a cover version of songs and everybody does their own thing when it comes to stuff. But when you were creating God Bless My Daddy and Kaulana Na Pua, what was the enjoyment of it and what would you find to be the most difficult?
Definitely. So I would say that falsetto singing, not only do I love promoting Hawaii, the feeling that I get always tends to lead me back to Hawaiian music. Every time I do sing Hawaiian music, it's a different feeling. So that's a hard question because I truly feel in my heart. But, I would have to say it's hard because they both have similarities. Both of them have a sort of sad story to me. Kaulana Na Pua talks about, empowerment of Hawaii and talks about our people and brings me some sadness. The fact that we're still going, the fact that we're still pushing, part of my mission as to why I do these things. God Bless My Daddy, great song. I feel that song more than ever. Experienced some loss in my life. A string that I don't like to show or share. If I can be vulnerable and share my healing process with others, I believe I can inspire others to heal. Believe it or not, before that, I had a gig right before that cover, I made it. And so, it was really, really hard to project my voice for that cover. Specifically, just talking about the physical part of it and singing. I really had a hard time projecting that song. And even though I was in the stairwell, it helped me out, was thinking about not posting it. And it's crazy to think about because that's one of the videos that actually gave me a great amount of, it's not about attention, but gave me eyes, gave me ears, people listening to me, and who's this guy, So if I didn't go through with it, who knows what would happen. I'm grateful that I had that challenge in front of me. That was the hardest video. And yeah, I'm grateful that I went through with it.
So for those who don't know you as an artist and for those who do know you as an artist, let's kind of go back to the very beginning of you and your career. When did you realize that music was going to be your future career? And did you have any other career goals in mind?
Yeah, so before all of this, I was a volleyball player. I had high hopes of making it to University of Hawaii to get a scholarship. Unfortunately, things don't happen sometimes the way we plan. Back in the day, my parents really supported me in everything that I did. After I got hurt, there was a situation where I did get hurt. I separated my shoulder and from a volleyball tournament and, it took a while to heal. After my healing process, I came back to practice the next season. I was way behind. All I could say is I was far behind from my whole team. My team had progressed, but I was still at a standstill trying to relearn what I had already, the skills that I felt I already had. That was very difficult. I had to choose. My parents asked me, if you're not going to do volleyball, because at the end of it, I was done with it. I was burnt out, me trying to catch up. My parents asked me, okay, so what are you going to do now? If you're not going to play volleyball, what are you going to do? Because I knew how to sing, but, I didn't know that landed me here, So I just said, I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go that route. I'm going to try to go to Hawaii still and pursue that. And little did I know, it became a passion. I grew into it as I started jamming more in Hawaii. I got my first gig probably months into me moving to Hawaii. So that was very exciting. And I only had about 1 gig or 2 gigs a year that first couple years. So I was still excited even though it was a couple. But yeah, that was the transition that got me into pursuing my music passion.
Now you said you moved to Hawaii. Now, where were you originally at before you came to Hawaii?
Yeah, so I'm from Palmdale, California. So I was living over there until high school, and then college time, I decided to make that move. Also because I needed a new setting. Palmdale was really repetitive to me. LA was just not my cup of tea at that time, and so I made that move. I went to college, and that's when I started singing the stairwells. That's when everything started.
So you talk about your start in music and you talk about your growth and your development with that. Knowing that you come this far in your career, knowing that you've been having quite the success in your career, what is something that you wish you would have known when you first started out in your career?
I wish I knew things don't got to be perfect for it to be perfect. I feel like perfection is a myth. And that's really all I have to say. It was really difficult in the beginning because I was trying and striving for perfection. And every time I wouldn't hit it, I would do the same covers I do today. It would take me about 50, 60 takes. And I'm not lying. Like I'm serious about that number. Now it's about 2 or 3. Now I'm super grateful for that. But it was me just letting go of the fact that perfection is a myth, letting go that I'm not going to hit it exactly how I want it because I'm definitely a perfectionist. But taking that step back has given me the opportunity of getting the exposure nowadays. And, I'm grateful I went through that, though, because, just to produce one video or post one video, it took a couple of days. So I'm grateful to be here.
Now, if you could describe yourself as an artist, what would you say yourself as an artist?
Striving for consciousness. And I want to inspire that as well. I always talk about unity, and I feel like the quickest route to unity is, looking inward. And it's not about being quick, it's not about that. It's about simply looking in, accepting what is inside, continuing forward. That's how we can be together.
One of your statements that is extremely important to you is having the opportunity to be able to share, being that you want to bring everybody together as one, knowing that you want to have the opportunity to keep everything together and not separate. What does that mean to you?
It means everything of my mission. I found myself separating myself from other people because I wasn't willing to heal myself. And knowing that and going through that, experiencing it firsthand, that's why it means everything for me to, try to help others.
You talk about the experiences. You mentioned earlier about, some of the adversities and how you've been able to grow as an artist. What separates you from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, I would have to say my energy. Singing is singing, even videos. You talk about me like doing a lot of covers, and I love to sing other people's songs and do it justice. It's me getting to taste everybody's genres, me getting to taste everybody's vibes, and then forming it into a way that I would like to be original, how I would like to be original. That energy that I bring, I'm unique in that way.
Played the acoustic guitar. When you were growing up, was the acoustic guitar your first love, or did you play any other instruments?
Yeah, my first love was actually the ukulele. 8th grade talent show. I played ukulele, and my family backed me up with other instruments. I started off there, and I think I was in freshman year of high school. I picked up the guitar, saw my cousin playing, and I just had to learn. So that competitiveness really drove me realize that guitar is actually my true love. And although I still love playing ukulele, I'm more driven to guitar. And I'm grateful for my cousin because he really pushed me to get better, because he got better so quick. Like, he got good so fast, and I was like, what's going on? Like, my fingers are already hurting, my fingers are bleeding, so I'm just like, step it up. And so actually I stopped playing for a big gap of time, and then it just came back to me.
Now, you mentioned about some of the memorable experiences in your career just now. Talk about some of the volleyball. What stands out to you the most? And as far as knowing that you were from California, knowing that you moved to Hawaii, is there anything that you miss about California? And what have you enjoyed about being here in Hawaii so far?
Miss California, and in a different way. Back in Palmdale, I really didn't care for Palmdale. I didn't care where I grew up. None of that meant anything to me. But as I got older, Palmdale started to mean more. And being on Hawaiian land is a different feeling for me. Being that my mission is to promote Hawaii and, to promote healing, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I love being here. Playing volleyball, I think one of the things that I miss is having team members. But it's not too far as to what I'm doing now, because love that teamwork environment. It still applies to me today. Anytime I'm working with the crew for recording, for videography, for anything that I need for my music career, it takes teamwork. So I think that, I'm still going through teamwork. There's so many factors as to what I'm thinking throughout the day, what I got to do throughout the day. Sure, I get all of those things done while keeping my peace.
Now, you mentioned about recording. You've released This Life.
Yeah, so This Life, I released that back in 2019. It was just tasting still. I didn't know my originality. I didn't realize it yet. So I had to taste different things. I just did something that I I was drawn towards Afro beats at that time. My first single, I was working with a team. The second single, it was closer to the beginning of COVID, I believe, and I really only had myself, so I did the whole thing. I produced it, I mixed it. I actually had one of my friends mix and master it, as I'm still learning that process today. I made the beat, created the lyrics, and was just kind of like venting as to what I was going through at that time. I was going through loss at that time, and acceptance of self. That was a very interesting process though, because it was my first time producing it, first time writing it, all myself. I was grateful for that experience.
So as I mentioned earlier, you're doing quite a lot in the present day. Presently, what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so I'm working on a few songs going back to God Bless My Daddy, going back to the idea of loss. It's also inspired in these next couple of songs, and how we're all evolving, so my perspective on loss is going to be totally different than it was in 2019. So seeing that growth is definitely exciting. But I have a few songs that are planned to release very soon. I got to keep it on the low for now, but I'm really excited to share what I'm about today. I believe I'm more helpful as well as to the listeners. I hope I can help them in their journey in healing. So yeah, I have a couple projects coming soon.
You talk about a couple of projects, you talk about kind of giving some information about what can we expect off of that. But as far as your future goals and the future plans in your career.
Oh, for sure. So it's hard as well because I'm living my dream as I see people healing as I'm singing, as I see people healing as I'm posting. So that's a dream in itself. But I have high hopes for myself to spread the message, or at least my message, to a wider audience. It's always to have a large audience is a dream of mine, and to be able to share at that level, I do not doubt myself one bit. I really believe that I'm not going to be Bob Marley, but I definitely can see myself being as impactful as Bob Marley. It's not about better. To me, it's not about being better than anybody. It's simply being me. Bob Marley was him. He didn't try to compete with anybody. And I compete. I definitely compete in healthy ways, but to compete to be better than a whole human being is just not it. I see myself growing a family. I see myself personally and in business, and in my music career. I see myself building a huge brand that promotes love, that promotes no jealousy, that promotes oneness, that is community. But at the same time, I really want to share my message to a broader audience.
Now, you touched upon something a little bit earlier. You mentioned Bob Marley. Are there any other artists that have been an inspiration to you? And I know that you release singles, but could we be expecting an album from you soon? Or you're just focusing on the singles for right now?
Another one of my idols would probably have to be J. Cole. He's brutally honest. And not necessarily me not wanting to be too honest, but keeping the space safe, healthy, and energetic, open for people to want to open up as well. I look up to Michael Jackson definitely as well. He changed, I believe he changed the game. From a young age, I was dancing Thriller and just watching all of his performances, his timing, his tempo, his every specific, I'm just in awe of. So, he's one of my biggest influences. And I do have a single coming up, but after that will be a couple of song project lumped together. I'm not too sure if it'll be EP or album yet, but yeah, that's what's coming.
I'm sure we can expect a lot of love, unity, and respect from you in regards to your music and keeping everything together as one. And I
Yeah.
want to say it's been a pleasure to interview you. I'm glad we're here together as well. And I'm wishing you all the best, brother.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.